It happened during a power outage in early 2024, the kind of outage that swallows the entire city, plunging blocks into an unnerving, inky blackness. My name is Alex, and my apartment on the 17th floor felt like a coffin suspended in the void. With the lights out, I was using my phone's flashlight to navigate the familiar landscape of my own home. The narrow beam cutting through the darkness, making ordinary shapes seem monstrous. I was heading to the kitchen for a bottle of water, maybe find some candles. The silence was thick, broken only by the sound of my own footsteps on the hardwood floor. As I passed the bathroom, the beam of my phone's light sliced across the large mirror above the sink, and that's when I froze. It was a flicker, a movement so quick I almost dismissed it, but I saw it. My reflection. It blinked. I hadn't. My own eyes were wide, staring, unblinking, into the glass. A cold knot formed in my stomach. It had to be a trick of the light. The flashlight flickering, my tired eyes playing games. I told myself that, but my feet wouldn't move. Slowly, I stepped closer, my heart thudding against my ribs like a trapped bird. The beam of light was steady now, illuminating my face in stark detail. My reflection was perfectly still, mimicking my every subtle shift in weight, my every shallow breath. It was just me, a pale, slightly freaked out version of me, staring back. The eyes in the mirror were my eyes wide with a mixture of fear and disbelief. I let out a shaky breath, a nervous laugh escaping my lips. "Get a grip, Alex," I whispered to myself. It was nothing, just the dark and an overactive imagination. I spent the rest of the night huddled on the couch, jumping at every creak and groan of the old building, waiting for the lights to come back on. The power returned the next morning, and with the bright light of day, the incident in the bathroom felt ridiculous, like a half-remembered nightmare. Life went back to normal. I went to work, came home, cooked dinner. The mirror was just a mirror. But as night fell, a sense of unease started to creep back in. I found myself avoiding the bathroom, using the small mirror in my bedroom instead. But I couldn't avoid it forever. Around 10 p.m., I had to brush my teeth. I stood in front of the sink, the bright vanity lights chasing away all the shadows. I looked at my reflection, forcing a casual air I didn't feel. Everything was normal. I brushed my teeth, rinsed my mouth, and was about to turn away. That's when it happened again. My reflection blinked, but this time, it wasn't a quick flicker. It was a slow, deliberate closing and opening of the eyes. My heart leaped into my throat. I stood there, paralyzed, my eyes locked with my own, yet not my own. And then, it smiled. A wide, toothy grin that stretched its lips in a way I never smiled. My own mouth was a thin, tight line of terror. The smile didn't reach its eyes. Those eyes, my eyes, were cold, predatory, and filled with a chilling intelligence. I stumbled backward, crashing into the door. I scrambled out of the bathroom, slamming the door shut behind me, my breath coming in ragged gasps. This wasn't my imagination. This was real. Something was in the mirror. Or rather, something was wearing my face, in the mirror. I didn't sleep at all that night. I sat in my living room, every light on, staring at the closed bathroom door, listening. Listening for what? I didn't know. A footstep, a whisper. But there was only silence. The kind of silence that feels heavy, like it's waiting. The next day was a blur of anxiety and paranoia. At work, I couldn't focus. Every reflective surface a window, a polished elevator door, the screen of my phone made my skin crawl. I was terrified of what I might see looking back at me. When I got home, I knew I couldn't go through another night like the last one. I decided I had to take action. I grabbed every towel, every sheet, every blanket I could find. I went from room to room, systematically covering every mirror in the apartment. The large one in the bathroom, the full-length one on my closet door, even the small decorative one in the hallway. As I draped a thick blanket over the bathroom mirror, I could feel its gaze on me. I know it sounds crazy, but I could feel it watching me from behind the cloth. The air in the room was cold, static. With the last mirror covered, a small bit of relief washed over me. It was a temporary solution, a flimsy defense, but it was something. I had cut it off from its world, from its ability to watch me. I hoped. That night, I tried to reclaim some sense of normalcy. I ate a late dinner in front of the TV, the noise a welcome distraction. I finally felt exhaustion pulling at me, the weight of 2 sleepless nights pressing down. I decided to go to bed early, convinced that with the mirrors covered, I would be safe. I climbed into bed, leaving a single lamp on in the living room, a small beacon against the pressing darkness. I fell into a restless, dream-filled sleep. I was jolted awake by a vibration. It was my phone, on the nightstand beside me. Groggy, I picked it up. The screen glowed in the dark room. 2:41 a.m. A notification banner was across the top of the screen. My blood ran cold as I read the words. Mirror, camera active. I didn't have a mirror camera. I didn't have any smart home security. My fingers trembled as I tapped the notification. A live feed opened on my screen. My heart hammered against my ribs. The video was grainy, shot in night vision. It wasn't showing the bathroom. It wasn't showing any of the covered mirrors. It was showing my bedroom, from an angle that didn't make sense. An angle high up on the wall, near the ceiling, directly opposite my bed. It was showing the back of my own head as I sat up, staring at the phone in my hands. My phone was showing me a live feed of myself from behind. I couldn't breathe. My mind was screaming, trying to make sense of the impossible. Where was the camera? How was this happening? Then, on the screen, a movement. From the edge of the frame, a figure began to emerge. It was me, or rather, my reflection. It was stepping out of a surface I couldn't see, moving with a fluid, unnatural grace. It moved silently across the room in the grainy video feed, getting closer and closer to the bed, closer to me. I watched, frozen in pure terror, as the figure on my phone screen leaned over my own sitting form. Its face filled the camera. The eyes were black pits in the night vision green. Its lips parted, and a whisper emanated from my phone's speaker, a dry, rasping sound that was a twisted parody of my own voice. You noticed too late. At that exact moment, I felt it. A cold, chilling touch on my bare shoulder. I dropped the phone. It clattered to the floor, the screen showing the reflection's smiling face one last time before it went dark. And in the suffocating silence of my bedroom, I slowly turned my head to see who was standing behind me.